Hello, everyone. It is Joe. It is the golden hour, as it is every day. I come to you 7 days a week in that 1 hour before sunset, where much of the world is golden. I am enjoying myself and a couple days in the woods here at the Hillsborough Preserve. It's the Upper Hillsborough Preserve. I haven't found any good spots in the Lower Hillsborough. Not yet, at least. But here is a wonderful place with lots of cool things to explore. With the weather we've been having and this time of year, the what might be swampy at other times of the year just is not and is very accessible. Um, so I'm having a great time exploring and getting to know this area of, what should I say, southeast central Florida. So, having a great time. As I normally do, I will show you a little bit of my campsite, and more importantly, you can see a little bit of gold back there. Um, it looks better in person. We all know that these phone cameras only get so much. But I'd like to talk with you about emotions. I've been listening to Abraham Hicks a lot, as always. And, oh, there goes a mosquito. I love mosquitoes, they're gamblers. But let me not get off track. As I was saying, Abraham Hicks talks about emotions a lot and how our feelings are really the key to everything as far as creating the lives and experiences that we want. So, I'm still settling down, as you can tell. I usually start these videos right after the push-ups, so I'm a little bit out of it at the beginning. So I'm really thinking about my emotions, thinking about just not focusing on the bad things, not letting them into my mind. And there are very few of them left, to be quite honest. My life is going very well. And I want to continue focusing on, as Abraham said, the 9 things that are going well and not the one that isn't. Because if I focus on the good things that are going well, they'll pull up the other things into good as well. Likewise, if I focus on the one bad thing, it might pull down all the 9 good things. So, not going to let that happen. That being said, I think it's important not to be too freaked out if you have a negative thought. Be like, oh no, I had a negative thought. Now I'm going to bring something bad into my experience. Oh no. I love how the sun turned orange right in time for that crazy face. I don't mean that the sun turned orange. It's just, I don't know. For some reason, it went behind an orange cloud, or I don't know. The sky somehow acts as a prism and reflects all this stuff at sunlight, and I don't know all the science behind it, but there's my orange face all the same. So, emotions. It's important not to freak out. It's important not to say I had a bad thought and oh no, orange face. Yes, negativity will bring negative things into our experience, just as positivity does. That's why I'm so eager to be positive with you guys on the show. Why I have such a great time making faces at you and smiling and having a wonderful time, because I know that that creates good things. Yes, it feels great to be, feeling good. And it's more than that. It also brings good things to us. I think a lot of us were taught when we were small not to be silly, not to be loud, not to be happy, but also that it's frivolous to be happy, that, to be happy and silly instead of being serious, isn't good, that you need to be serious and work on your work or focus on your homework or whatever it is, right? But that's exactly the opposite. That doesn't work. mosquito going on over here. Go away. Go away. I don't want to hurt them, but I will. Like I said before, mosquitoes are gamblers. Mosquitoes will gamble their lives in order to reproduce. They don't eat blood from people all the time or drink blood from people all the time. They only do it when they have to in order to have their eggs. That's why it's only the females that do it, because for some part of the reproductive process they need blood, whatever's in there. I don't know, iron, hemoglobin, who knows. Any mosquito experts out there? Leave a comment, let me know. Point is, they're gambling their lives in order to reproduce, in order to have baby mosquitoes, which is not so pleasing for us, but I'm sure they think it's a good idea. So, yeah, I killed them. I swatted them. I don't want to let them eat me, but I will respect them and understand them and love them for what they are and respect the gamble, because hey, they might bite me and get away, and then good for them, right? If they want to play that game with me, they can. That's how I'm looking at it. It's my mosquito swatting reframe for you. So anyway, emotions. I think about when I'm meditating, whether I'm managing my thoughts or my emotions. I can try not to think as much when I meditate. That's hard to do. I think maybe the first thing I ever heard about meditation is, oh yeah, you sit down and you try not to think. But I don't know that that's a very wise place to start. You know, that's supposedly what meditation is. So, I learned a lot since. And of course, a lot of the people who are really good at meditation don't like to give straight answers. So, for me, I find it's something different every day. I find it gives me a different, what's the word? It's like a buffet. We used to have buffet tables in the cafeteria in college, and you would go down and you could just eat whatever you wanted for breakfast. You know, you could have eggs, you could have bacon, you could have sausage, you could have bread, you could have, I don't know, some vegetables or potatoes or whatever. I mean, they just had a bunch of stuff, and you could pick what you wanted. Breakfast cereal, orange juice, not so good in combination, but tasty on their own. That was the idea, is that we had a great many options, and we could pick what we needed that day. You know, whether we wanted a bunch of carbs or some greasy food or some coffee or some fruit or some sugar, you know, that's what we would do. So, ooh, I think I got a mosquito there. Anyway, my thought is, every day with meditation, this time for me is something different. For example, I'd been sitting down a lot today and I wanted to get up on my feet, so I did some walking meditation. I don't know if you guys do this. I find it's one of those meditation styles that's easy to fall out of and just be walking around, not really meditating. So the key is to go slow. I put my palms together at my chest, which helps. What else? Since I'm in the woods, I try to walk softly in the woods, which is kind of fun. There's a part of me that's always wanted to be like this Native American, silent, stealthy in the woods kind of person. So that's kind of fun. I have no Native American blood in me, but I guess as children in America, we kind of look at them as people from where we live who are different than us and have different strengths and weaknesses, perhaps. I don't know. We've certainly mythologized the victims of our genocide, and it's hard to talk about because as a kid you don't think about that stuff, but as an adult it's like, yeah, okay, white people did kill almost all the Native Americans on a whole continent. Yikes. But, see, I just went negative there. Let's try to get positive again. As I'm saying, I enjoy walking meditation, walking stealthily, and having a good time, walking slowly with my palms together, exploring areas nearby, not too far, not going too fast, not trying to get anywhere, enjoying what's around me. And that's really nice. But I was wondering, it really doesn't matter, if I'm more distracted while doing. Man, mosquitoes are distracting me today. But yeah, as we all know, the golden hour is pretty much the mosquito hour, like everywhere. Right before sunset is when they come out to look for people to bite on. So, anyway, I will try to focus today. Play with a contrast a bit too. So, what I'm trying to say about emotions is that regulating emotions, being aware of how we feel, is super important. We don't even have to change the emotions, just to know what we're doing, just to be aware we're having an emotion. Like a minute ago in the video, I stopped myself from going on a negative rant and went on a more positive one. And yes, you can change your emotions to something more positive, and yes, it does create better things in your life, but even if you don't, just being aware that it happened is super duper important. We can't fix anything we can't see. And a lot of times we become so accustomed through years and years and years to being negative that we don't even realize we're doing it. It was funny. There was a guy talking to me about my travels, and he was asking me a lot of questions, and he was asking a lot of very critical questions. I wasn't very pleased with the tone of his questions. His friends were super nice about it. There were, I think, 4 of them, and his friends were really nice and curious, as a lot of people are, just naturally curious about, oh, who's this guy who's living this different lifestyle than the rest of us. And this one guy, though, was very critical with his questions, and he played it off. He's like, oh, yeah, I have a very curious mind. I'm like, well, maybe, dude. What's really going on is that you're seeing someone who's living outside of your paradigm. You're seeing someone who's rejecting the rules that you think have to be, followed, obeyed. To some people, I represent something that shouldn't be possible. I know I do to myself. A lot of this I didn't think was possible, but I just thought, well, if there's a chance, I want to try it. Maybe it is possible. And so, yeah. He was leaking out a lot of negative emotions along with his questions. And, you can feel it. You can feel it when someone asks you a question in a different tone or with a different emotion. And it's very important for us to be genuine and to stay with our positive emotions. I mean, yes, of course, it makes people like you better, if you're more positive. People are more inclined to want to be around you. But this dude, he didn't know he was doing it. I mean, on some level, he did, deep down. But on a more conscious level, he just thought he was asking questions and having a curious mind. But he was really not asking questions because he wanted to know about my lifestyle or because he's curious. He's asking questions because he thinks I'm cheating. He thinks that there's no way for people to live the way I do and be happy. Or he thinks that you have to live his way. You have to go to college, get a job, follow the normal plan. And if you're unhappy about it, tough, that's the only thing. I'll bet that guy, of all his friends, is the one who I have the most in common with. I'll bet he would benefit the most from living like I do. I bet deep down he wants to. So, wherever you are, dude, I hope that you have great adventures. If you ever see this, please continue to examine what's possible and see the emotions, the negative emotions that you're putting out there, not just to other people, but to yourself. That's my point. There are things we have going on, negative things that we can't deal with. We pretend they're not there. We ignore them. And they don't go away. They just mess up our lives. But you can see them messing up your life, and then you can say, oh, something must be messing up my life. I've gotten rid of all these other negatives. Where's the one that's causing this? So you can do some detective work with it, and you can have a fun time getting to know yourself. But that's the wonderful thing, is blind spots. Getting behind them, seeing them, knowing you have blind spots, and then looking out for them, and then catching yourself when you're being negative and creating things you don't want in your life. So, whether you use self-awareness or friends or other techniques to get around those blind spots, and feel free to chip in. I'd love to know how you do it. Um, it's an important job, no matter how you do it, and you will be able to manifest things quicker and easier. You'll be able to have a better time and not be surprised by negatives if you don't pretend the things that cause them don't exist. It's like a triple negative. What I'm trying to say is, clear out your blind spots, you won't be surprised by bad things, and you'll be able to have more and more good things in your life. Try that sentence on for size. I think it makes a lot more sense. Anyway, my name is Joe Neely. Visit me at joeneely.net/golden hour, and you can find there an episode list of all the different episodes. So if you want to look into a particular exercise, a particular theme, I rant and rave about 5 to 10 different subjects on here, and you can pick through and find the ones you like. Also, you can leave comments there or on YouTube right here below my face. I assume there's a comment bar. So y'all have a great night, and we'll talk tomorrow. Love you all. Bye-bye.